Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by Legacy FC Flyweight Jimmy Flick. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Jimmy, you got a fight coming up December 14th at Legacy FC 16. How's training been going for the fight?
Oh, training's been going great, man, and I'm ready to go out there and show everybody why I've been training so hard.
You were originally supposed to fight him, I believe, back at Legacy 14. He suffered an injury and had to pull out of that fight. Altogether now at this camp and the training that you had before, how much time have you put all together for this training camp?
I was supposed to fight him back in August 17th, but from what I understand, he really didn't have an injury. He had back-to-back camps. He was supposed to fight Chad Robo. Chad Robo pulled out on him the day of weigh-ins, and I couldn't take the fight on that short of a notice. I would have if they would have allowed me to, but I wouldn't have been able to make the trip, so I couldn't do it. He pulled out because camps were too hard back-to-back, so I took another fight on a short notice down in Corpus Christi for Blood and Glory. I fought Wesley Dunlap. He was 0-2 as a professional, and I put him to sleep at 1:08 in the first round. Training was going great for that fight. I went out there and I showed that against Wesley, and I turned right back around, and I've been training for real ever since.
Let's go back to when you got the call that you were going to be fighting for the title. Were you surprised that Legacy was going to come in this early and offer you a title fight?
Actually, what happened was Legacy gave Steve Garcia the title fight against Will Capizano. I felt like Steve Garcia didn't deserve it. He never fought at 125. No disrespect against Steve Garcia. Honestly, I don't even know the guy. Steve Garcia suffered an injury, and then Chad Robo stepped in and took the fight. And then that really made me mad because I was 5-0 as a professional. I was supposed to fight Chad Robo twice, and Chad Robo pulled out on me. I never got that fight. And then Chad Robo got the fight and then pulled out on Will. The night he pulled out on Will, I called Mick Maynard myself, and I told Mick, I was like, Mick, I want this fight. I deserve this fight. This should be my fight. And I had the fight the next day.
Your opponent, Will Capizano, what are your thoughts about him?
He brings really, really good Muay Thai. I'm not underestimating that at all. I don't underestimate his ground at all, but I believe that's where I'm going to be more dominant in this fight. He is coming off a knockout over a very tough opponent, Josh Sambo. A lot of people say his wrestling was a lot better than mine, and they feel that Will's going to do the same thing and knock me out. But I'm not just a wrestler. I'm an MMA fighter and with a very good background in jiu-jitsu, and I want to prove that against Will. I plan on going out there and putting a beating on Will Capizano. He's talked a lot about this fight, saying he's going to break the brick and stuff like that, and I can't wait to see him and drop some bows on his face.
Is there a little bit of bad blood between you two going into this fight?
Yes, sir. The night I took the fight, they put Will on Access TV, live on Access TV the next day, because, like I said, I called Mick Maynard and told him I wanted the fight, and he got on there and started talking mess, saying he was going to break the brick, and that he was going to stop my face in and stuff like that, and that's where it all started. I know he's just trying to promote the fight, but we've been going back and forth on Twitter. If people want to follow me at Jimmy Flick and check out the bad blood going back and forth on there for the past couple months, they're more than welcome. And I'm just ready to show people, I don't just talk. I go out there and I fight.
What's more important to you, the belt or getting a win over a guy like Will Capizano, a UFC vet, WEC vet? Your goal is obviously to make it to the UFC, and getting a win over a guy who's already been there, that'll be a good feather in your cap. What's more important to you?
The win. I'm not even paying attention to the belt. The only thing the belt brings is a 5-minute round fight, and I'm excited about that. I've been in a 5-round fight before, but it wasn't 5 minutes. It was 3 5-minute rounds against Humberto De Leon. I dominated that fight, and I feel like I'm going to do the same in this. I want to test my heart, and I want to test my determination, and see how bad I really want it. The belt would be cool, but I have a bunch of belts already. It'd be nice to have on my shelf, but a win over Will Capizano would be even better.
This is going to be the main event live on Access TV. a pretty big stage. It shouldn't be anything new for you because right off the bat you were thrown to the wolves. Your pro MMA debut was for Bellator. Do you feel any pressure? Is it going to feel a little bit different, fighting, for a title, big stage? Do you feel any difference?
Oh, no, sir, not at all. Like you said, my first fight I was brought in to lose to Humberto De Leon on Bellator. I was 0-0 as a professional. I was 7-0 as an amateur going pro. Humberto was 11-1-1 as an amateur and 6-2 as a professional. And coming off a loss with Johnny Bedford, which is a UFC fighter, and he went to decision with Johnny Bedford. So I knew he was going to be a tough opponent. I thought I was brought in to lose, and I went out there and I dominated him. And if you see that I fought Humberto twice, that's exactly why, because they felt like, they was going to beat me, and they didn't. So I fought Humberto for a title, and I beat Humberto for a title. The fight being on TV, the cameras and stuff don't bother me. I've wrestled my whole life. I'm used to that, fighting in front of people and everything, and I feel they're trying to bring me in to lose to Will Campuzano as well. And hopefully December 14th, I don't let that happen.
You touched on it briefly about your wrestling background. For the people who, maybe have never heard of you before and this fight for Legacy is going to be the first time that they see you in action, give us a little bit of insight to what your background is and what got you started into mixed martial arts.
I started wrestling when I was 3 years old. My father, Jimmy Flick, we got the same name, got me into it, and I've been wrestling since I was a little kid. I wrestled in high school. When I got in high school, I kind of fell off a little bit, started, going through the high school phases. I kind of dropped out of high school to start fighting. I was 17 years old. I moved down to Corpus Christi, Texas, with Hector Munoz. Started training under Hector. He was a black belt. I trained with him for over a year, and then I got into MMA. I went 7-0 as an amateur with 6 submissions in the first round and 1 in the second round. And then I went pro. I'm on a 6-0 run as a professional with 4 submissions and 2 decisions over Humberto De Leon. I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu under Hector, and I love jiu-jitsu and I love wrestling. I love the stand as well, and just nobody's made me stand yet. Until that happens, then I'm going to keep putting people on their back and doing what I do best, and that's finish them.
You've been able to finish a lot of the opponents that you've had by arm triangle choke. Is that your go-to submission, or is it just a coincidence that it just keeps coming back up and you've been able to finish guys like that?
It's kind of just a coincidence. As an amateur, I only finished one person in the head and arm, and I finished people off my back in triangles and arm bars. I've had a couple 30-second fights as an amateur. I had a 50-second fight as a professional, and coming off a 50-second and a minute fight. I finished fights from top. I finished fights from bottom. I just love jiu-jitsu, and if they give me the head and arm, they give me the bond fluid choke, they give me any kind of submission, I'm going for it. No matter what, if it's in the first round or the last round, I'm trying to finish you the whole fight. And if you look at my career, you can see that Humberto De Leon is the only person I've never finished, and I was real close to finishing him a couple times. And he's also went to a decision with Johnny Bedford, and that was at a higher weight class.
Is this a multiple fight deal with Legacy, or is this just a one-off?
It is a multiple fight deal. I signed a 3-fight deal with them, but hopefully, I go out there and I take out Will, and if I do, hopefully Dana White sees it. That's why I want to go out there, and I want to do it in good fashion. And if I can do that, make a statement, I really think I'll get my shot at the UFC. And I don't care if it's against Joseph Benavidez, Ian McCall, any of their top guys. I'm ready to prove myself. I know I'm only 22 years old, but I've been in the sport since I was 18, and I'm ready for that level, and that's why I took this fight against Will Campuzano. I could have just stayed in these little companies and kept building my record up like people do, but that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to show people how good I really am.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to predict what the UFC is looking for and what they want for guys that are working their way up and what they need to see from them to get that call. But with this fight specifically, what do you feel that you need to do? Do you feel that you need to go in there and finish him, or do you feel that just a win is going to be good enough because this guy has fought in the big show before?
Oh, yeah. Going out there and finishing would be even better. Like I said, if we're going to go to war, I think the UFC would love to see a 5-minute round war. I don't like to lay and pray. I do take people down and beat them up. I don't just lay on them. I have been to a decision, but like I said, it's against Roberto De Leon, and he's never been finished in his career. Will has. He's been submitted. He's been to decisions. He's been knocked out and TKO'd. If I get the advantage to do any of that, I will do it. I mean, I don't want to go to a decision, but I do want to go through a war to really test myself.
If the UFC doesn't come calling, Legacy, they've got some pretty good flyweights on their roster right now. Ryan Benoit and Joseph Sandoval are going to fight on the same card that you're going to be fighting on. There's also Matt Schnell, who is on the MTV show. He's also under the Legacy banner. So there's some pretty good flyweights. Any of those guys interest you at all?
Oh, yes, sir. If I win this fight and I don't get the call at the UFC, I want Ryan Benoit, another good Muay Thai guy, trains with Will Capizano as well. Only one lost, I believe, Tim Snyder by decision. Looking really, really good his last couple fights. He did make weight at his catchweight 130 against Randy Villarreal, which I did tap Randy Villarreal out in a Bon Flute show back in March in the second round. Randy had over 15 professional fights. Randy knocked him out in the first, but didn't make weight, came in at 135 and was supposed to fight at a catchweight. After that fight, Ryan Benoit did say he wanted to fight me if I beat Will Capizano, and that's a fight I would love to make happen too if he can make weight. Jose Sandoval has kind of been on a losing streak, but it's been on that big stage as well. You know, Antonio Benuelas kind of fell off to Josh Sambo, but Josh Sambo's off on the radar as well. You know, he lost to Will, but he's a really, real good fighter. Came back looking good against Antonio Benuelas. So any of these guys could step up and take the fight, and I don't care which one it is, but I got to get through Will first, and then hopefully it's the UFC or one of them top guys.
Yeah, it's deeper than I thought. I forgot about Sampo and Benuelos. It's pretty deep, that weight class they got there over at Legacy. Jimmy, one thing that I wanted to ask you was, when you've envisioned this fight ending, you've had a lot of time, I'm sure, to think about this fight with it being delayed and now this whole process leading up to the fight. How have you envisioned the fight ending?
I envision the fight going into later rounds where I prefer the fight. I think it works out in my favor in later rounds, and I feel I can grind out Will in them later rounds and finish him by submission in the late third or fourth round is the way I've been dreaming and been putting the beating on him. That's what I want. I want a submission in the late rounds. If it comes in the beginning, I'll take it, but if it's in the later rounds, that'll be amazing too.
Mm-hmm. You recently became a dad. First, congratulations about that. And second, how important has this fight become now that you have a child that you need to take care for?
Yeah, thank you, sir, for the congratulations. Yes, and it's an awesome feeling. I have a 7-month-old baby girl, and now fighting this for her. At first, you know, I was a kid in the sport, and I was fighting for myself. Now I have a baby to provide for. I have a wife to take care of. I have bills to pay, and if I lose the fight, it's not going to pay my bills. If I win the fight, I'm still going to be struggling. I mean, I do this for a living. I opened up an MMA gym here in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and, you know, I've got a lot on my plate, and I don't think Will's got as much. Will's had his time at the big show. I know he wants to get back, but I feel like it's my time, and I got to go out there and prove it to people, and I'm going to do that next Friday.
Mm-hmm. There is a lot of bad blood, you know, this Twitter war, all this kind of stuff. Usually when two guys go in and fight that don't like each other, after the fight, they kind of, quote, squash the beef. Do you see that happening at all, or right now is it too early to say?
For me, it's not a big deal, man. If Will wants to squash it after, that's cool. I'll shake his hand. I'll drink a beer with him if he wants to drink a beer. You know, honestly, I think the winner should buy the beer, you know, but if he has bad bet after, that's fine with me too, you know. That don't bother me. It's a fight, and whether we're mad at each other or we're best friends, I'm still going to go out there and put a beating on you.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy, real quick before I let you go, do you have any sponsors you would like to thank, and is there anything you'd like to say to the fans?
Yes, I'd like to give a big shout-out to Closing Control from Georgia, Rock Supplements from Corpus Christi, Lightning Fluid Services from Allen, Texas, Adcock Piping and Supply, Takeaway Gourmet, Domestic Drilling from Corpus Christi, Texas, with Jason Ferguson. I want to give a big shout-out to my brother, Danny Flick, my strength and conditioning coach, my Muay Thai coach, my coach all around, also a flyweight. I'd like to give a shout out to all my training partners at Flit Brothers MMA Academy here in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and my wife for taking care of me for everything and helping me be prepared for this fight, helping me with my diet, taking care of baby when I come home, and just being there for me and all my friends and family.
Jimmy, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck December 14th at Legacy FC 16 against Will Capizano.
Thank you, sir, and I hope you are able to watch it or be there, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope I can put on a good fight for you and the fans.